Hello, Karis here, just with a couple of thoughts today on trust. A lot of times we say that we trust God, but do we really trust God or do we trust God in something else? A couple weeks ago, I was driving or walking or something, and the thought occurred to me that a lot of the times we say we trust God, but we're actually saying what we really believe is, well, I trust God, and I also trust my service to God. Or I trust Jesus, but I also trust my giving of my tithe. Or I trust Jesus and I also trust my relationships. So it got me thinking about, well, do we trust Jesus 100%? And then these things flow out of that 100% trust? Or do we trust Jesus like 60% and like our service 40% or 20% and relationships 10% or something? So it just got me thinking about that. And, the Bible is just exploding with verses on trusting God. Probably one of the most well known is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take." And, so many times I feel like we say we trust God, but then we also trust other things too. And so I just wanted to get you thinking about that today. Like, do we really trust God totally, or are we trusting Him partly and trusting our abilities and other things as well? In Leviticus, it talks about, all the laws and everything, but, there's still some that we can take from those verses today. It says in Leviticus 19:4, "Do not put your trust in idols or make metal images of gods for yourselves. I am the Lord your God." And that sentiment is echoed a lot in the Bible. And, if you don't think we have idols today, just go to Madame What's-Her-Name's Wax Museum, and, there you go. There's some idols for you. And then also in the New Testament, there's a lot about trust in Jesus and what that really means and what it really looks like. Here in Romans 9:31-33, it's talking about trust, and it says, "But the people of Israel who tried so hard to get right with God by keeping the law never succeeded. Why not? Because they were trying to get right with God by keeping the law instead of by trusting in Him. They stumbled over the great rock in their path. God warned them of this in the scriptures when He said, 'I am placing a stone in Jerusalem that makes people stumble, a rock that makes them fall. But anyone who trusts in Him will never be disgraced.'" And of course, they're talking about Jesus. And that's just so important to keep in mind that, we don't want to stumble over the rock that is Jesus by, putting faith in our own efforts to fulfill the law. Jesus said to the crowds, shouted at the crowds, "If you trust me, you are trusting not only me, but also God who sent me," in John 12:44. And in Romans 10:11 it says, "As the scriptures tell us, anyone who trusts in Him will never be disgraced." And in Romans 15:13, I just think this is such a beautiful verse. "I pray that God, the source of hope, will fill you completely with joy and peace because you trust in Him. Then you'll overflow with confident hope through the power of the Holy Spirit." I just love that verse. It's just so, so cool. Everything that we do, it's should be flowing out of this trust in God. That our 100% trust is in Him. And then out of that trust flows other things versus, oh, well, I trust that because I'm giving, God's going to bless me. Or I trust that because I'm serving at my church, God's going to bless me and I'm good with Him. It's just so simple, but it's so hard at the same time to trust God that He's enough, Jesus is enough, and He's it, So I just want to encourage you today to think about, where do you put your trust? Do you put it in things other than God? Do you put it in your money? Do you put it in your service at church? Do you put it in your service, in the community? If we have 100% trust in God, then those other things will be flowing out. But if we're not putting 100% trust in God, then we're partially putting our trust on a shakable foundation. So I hope that makes you think, and I hope it encourages you. And I hope you're having a great week. Talk to you later.